Dylan Cruz collects his first hit against the reigning AL Cy Young winner, and of course it happens then. But also, even then, Patrick Corbin, take a bow.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can check us out over on YouTube. Just search Locked On Nationals, hit that subscriber button for us. And if always, wherever you get your podcasts, again, search Locked On Nationals, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever it is, you'll find us there because we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So later on in today's show, we'll discuss Game 3 today, as you got Carlos Rodon against MacKenzie Gore, two left-handed pitchers. Our MacKenzie Gore, while he is still very good, he has been struggling here lately. Carlos Rodon has also been struggling as well. Something's going to have to give. Who will win this game? Who will win the series ultimately? We'll get that to you in the third segment of today's show. In the second segment, let's talk about it. Jose Tena, and of course, he has been, I'll say unbelievably good. He really has been. He's 23 years old, playing pretty solid over at third base. And even then, his metrics are looking really good. And at this point in time, I think he could be holding up one of your Nationals' top prospects down to the minors. So we'll just get into that in the second segment of today's show and really what Tena has done so far as a Washington National. But we start off the first segment discussing last night's win against the New York Yankees as the Nationals, led by Patrick Corbin, squeaked away with a 4-2 win. Before we get into it, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. So let's get into it here. Your first major league hit is always a special moment. But when you are Dylan Cruz, it is an even more special moment. Not only did Dylan Cruz collect his first hit in last night's game, he actually had a multi-hit game. And also on top of that, that came off the reigning Cy Young winner with Gerrit Cole. When the Nationals are playing well, these are the things that will have to happen. The stars will have to align. It's plain and simple. Everything, if you are going against a team like the Yankees up to this point in 2024, the stars have to align for you. And last night, the stars did align. Dylan Cruz coming up big. Two hits yesterday. Of course, he had that little dribbler in the infield as well. Then went over to second base after a throwing error there. Dylan Cruz was not really the catapult for why the Nationals won yesterday's game. It was really more so Patrick Corbin. And that is one of those things where, again, the stars align so perfectly for you. And that is then what happened. So let's get into it, because Patrick Corbin was unbelievable in yesterday's game. And imagine if Patrick Corbin were to just give us this maybe every few weeks, which I guess he kind of does. But you also go weeks at a time where you're like 4 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 3 earned runs over 3 innings pitched, whatever it is. We've seen it time and time again from Patrick Corbin, to the point where if you're going to be betting on him or betting against him like I did, you're probably going to win betting against him. But betting for him, it's one of the toughest things out there. I just can't go into any game where Patrick Corbin starts and say, I believe we can win this game. Especially against this gauntlet of a lineup with Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Jazz Chisholm, Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells, if he comes in and pitch hits like he just did in last night's game. Alex Verdugo, even though he has been one of the worst hitters in all of baseball since the All-Star break, he's still one of those guys where he makes you a little bit nervous at the plate. That was all voided last night. Patrick Corbin, between, in my opinion, They're kind of three-headed monsters sitting here today with Soto, Judge, or four-headed monster rather, with Soto, Judge, Stanton, and Chisholm. They went 3 of 15 with 4 strikeouts. One of those big hits was an Aaron Judge double off Patrick Corbin. But if you're telling me that Patrick Corbin only held Aaron Judge to a double in yesterday's game and also held our own Juan Soto over in yesterday's game, I would take that any day of the week. And you also kind of saw when talking about a big picture moment here with baseball, if Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, if they aren't clicking on the level that they should be, considering what both those guys have done all season long, if they aren't clicking on that level, this Yankees team is beatable. You saw it in yesterday's game going up against, again, Patrick Corbin. One of the worst, if not the worst starting pitcher in all of baseball this season. That team is very beatable, and I think you saw those holes kind of come into play in yesterday's game. But also with that said, though, it wasn't just the Yankees who, quote-unquote, lost the game. The Nationals did win that game overall. They played better. The pitching held us in for the entire game. There's not a single Yankee that had a multi-hit game in yesterday's contest. And also on top of that, Andres Chaparro finally hit the ball away from Aaron Judge for his first career home run. And I do want to talk about that real quick. I'm not here to tell you that Andres Chaparro is going to be your future DH. I'm not here to tell you that he's going to be some big impact player. But when I am over at Nationals Park and I get to see batting practice live, I just saw Chaparro twice over the last week in batting practice. 2 times. Andres Chaparro, the way that he swings the bat in batting practice is the same way he does during the games. But more importantly, the crack of the bat. This is one of those things where some people may overlook this, but I certainly don't. There are people out there, there are hitters out there, like a Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Nelson Cruz back in the day. Guys like that with insane raw power. It just sounds differently off the bat. Andres Chaparro is one of those guys. When you see him taking batting practice and taking the cuts that he's going to take before the Nationals game, James Wood is also in this conversation now. But it just sounds different. And I think you have seen this now over his first few weeks up in the bigs here with Chaparro. He's making a pretty decent sized difference for this team. Remember his first game, multi-hit game, looked really good in the Nationals in the middle part of their lineup there. And then in yesterday's game, while he's batting 5th in the lineup, had some damage as well with that home run. Also had 3 strikeouts as well, but that home run was a big kind of momentum shift for the Nationals. Getting that off Gerrit Cole, taking a sizable lead there in the 4th inning. Andres Chaparro is going to be one of those guys where you have to keep your eye on him going forward into 2024. I'm not here to say that, again, I don't know what his future holds at this point. But you can't tell me today that you're just going to be checked out on him and just completely throw his production away. He has been productive so far. And he does kind of fit that mold again, where if you hear the sound of the bat, and this is an overrated kind of metric or whatever one you want to say, but it does sound different. And he has that violent swing where it's kind of like, if this guy gets a hold of it, he's going to crush it. And you saw that in yesterday's game as he had his first career home run off of Gerrit Cole. But overall, though, Dylan Cruz getting multiple hits in his second game against Gerrit Cole. That's your highlight of yesterday's performance, and as well as Patrick Corbin shutting the door as he has dominated in back-to-back starts. What is this, 2019 again? Kind of feels like it at this point in time, but again, let's run through it. 6 innings pitched for Patrick Corbin, 2 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 0 earned runs. His ERA is back to a whopping 5.5. Good job for Patrick Corbin. Back-to-back good starts. You love to see it. So shout out to the Nationals. Great team win yesterday, top to bottom. You got offensive production from guys that you wanted to see, including one guy we did not talk about in the first segment because he deserves his own segment. Jose Tena. And guys, I'm starting to think that the Nationals could be holding up one of their top prospects because of the 23-year-old and what he is doing over at the hot corner. So let me get into it and tell you who could be being held up because of the production of Jose Tena. But before we get into it, I'm going to tell you guys about some of our very good friends over at eBay Motors. And of course, we talk about eBay Motors. You guys already know the drill. There is passion, drive, and patience, which is the formula for winning championships. And it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the price you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Now, I'm going to tell you guys about some of our also very good friends over at PrizePicks. And of course, you may not know what PrizePicks is. Well, we've talked about it a lot here. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. And PrizePicks is the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. You can win up to 100 times your money on your PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 today. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And of course, one Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on PrizePicks every week in September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 week of free W's. Don't miss this deal on PrizePicks because it's gone when September ends. And PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, Georgia, and of course, my home state, Virginia. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Now we get back into it with the Nationals beating the New York Yankees last night. And as we talked about in that first segment, it's because of what Patrick Corbin and the bullpen did. It's because of Andres Chaparro and the home run that he hit. But also a big factor left out in that was the 23-year-old that the Nationals just acquired at this year's trade deadline, Jose Tena. Jose Tena has just quietly been, not really quietly, but he has been a very consistent piece for this Washington Nationals team so far. Since being traded over from the Cleveland Guardians in his 13 games here with the Nats, the numbers that he has put up is wildly good. Batting .340, a .367 OBP, a .489 slug, and a .857 OPS. His OPS plus, again, through these 13 games is at 143. Jose Tena, I'm not here to tell you that this guy is going to be your third baseman in the future. But I also do think it's starting to look like Jose Tena could be a starting piece of the future, but not over at third base. But with that said, in the now, we all know about Brady House down in the minors. He's in AAA. You do at this point in time expect him to make his major league debut maybe over the next few weeks with September call-ups looming. But I don't think at this point in time, with the way that Tena is playing, that the Nationals should even consider moving off of him at third base. I think you should let Brady House even sit even just a little bit more to get all the reps you can from Jose Tena. He has been your best hitter since being called up from AAA Rochester. It's not that close even. And if you look over at all his deep dive metrics at this point, They're all well above average. In fact, like in top kind of stratosphere here with exit velos of guys like Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani at this point. His average exit velocity sits well above the major league average. His hard hit percentage is well above the major league average, all up into the 90th percentile for both those metrics. His expected slug is all the way up in the 90th percentile. His sweet spot percentage, right around 50%, whatever. His whiff percentage, well above average. His chase percentage, well above average. His squared up percentage, well above average. Jose Tena, and again, this is such a small sample size, but the things that I heard from the Cleveland Guardians and people who cover their team every single day was that this guy is a very legit hitter. He does have some holes in his game, and you can see that at times at the plate with his swing decisions. But so far, it's been so good for the Nationals. If he were to correct these things, which at this point in time, you like to think that he may have corrected them, or he's correcting them as we speak, because the results are speaking for themselves. Jose Tena should not just be thought of as someone who's just like an extra bench guy going forward. This guy should get an opportunity to play every single day and get at bats every single day for the duration of 2024. That's at the point that we are at. I also want to talk about this. He's only 23 years old. He turns 24 heading into March of 2025 next year. This is still a very young piece. Younger than Luis Garcia, right around the age of a CJ Abrams. This kid is young. He's got a lot to prove. He was in a loaded Guardian system who didn't give him all the opportunities up at the major league level, but that also doesn't mean that this guy is just some bag of peanuts that you find on the side of the road. That's not what it is. He was just a prospect caught in a logjam in a very loaded Guardian system, and they needed to offload some talent. And luckily, the Nationals, they found their way with Jose Tena. So what should be the approach of Mike Rizzo going forward? Well, I already said for the approach of the rest of 2024, he should be your third baseman moving forward over the next month, and let's see how he does with about a month and a half, 2 months of baseball under his belt up in the big leagues. But going forward, don't make a mistake about this. Brady House is your future third baseman. That's going to be your guy moving forward. I could honestly see the Nationals trying out Jose Tena in left field, just seeing what he does. Now, I don't think this is something that they do this year, but maybe they do and try to take a big swing on that and just kind of work on him out in the outfield. Maybe they look at that and say, we'll try it. But if you look around the infield right now, there's no real spot for him outside of third base. Let's see what this kid can do out in left field. Now, it's a lot easier said than done. Is he going to be a good left fielder? I don't know. Does he have the arm strength for it? I would imagine, though, so playing a decent third base the way he does. But there's also a lot more other factors that should be considered here. And I don't know what the Nationals are really looking for. I don't know what they want from him. I don't know what they expect from him even. I don't know if this is going to be some Lane Thomas effect where we're talking about Jose Tena in 2 years from now saying, remember when we got Jose Tena in a Lane Thomas trade? I don't know at this point. But what I do know is I'm curious. What does the future hold for him? And if this guy continues to hit the way that he does and continues to help the Nationals propel themselves to wins over Gerrit Cole and the Yankees, then what kind of future does he have? Because in my opinion, as I see him more, the more I feel like this guy is a real puzzle piece to getting the Nationals back in October baseball. That is the way that I feel at this point in time. Maybe I'm just high off a win yesterday against the Yankees. Maybe I am. But also, I think he is a real piece and will be a real factor going forward if the Nationals can figure out what to do with the kid. So we'll see what the Nationals do ultimately. But Jose Tena, Watch that name for the rest of the season. He's going to be one of the guys that I will be keeping a close eye on throughout the 2024 season over the next month. So thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day. Next, let's talk about MacKenzie Gore. He makes a start tonight against the Yankees. And we all know MacKenzie Gore, this could be really good, but it could be really bad. We'll discuss that after we tell you guys about our friends over at Liquid IV. And when you're taking in America's pastime like tonight, it is a 98-degree day. Don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV, and you can get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. I can tell you guys this, it is a 98-degree day here, late August, dog days of the summer for the Washington Nationals, and you're going to want a Liquid IV pouch. All you'll have to do is bring a pouch with you to go, whether it's a pina colada flavor, lemon lime, acai berry, and much more. You can dump that into your bottle of water, shake that thing up, tear, pour, and of course, right there, shake it up. You'll be good to go, and you'll get all the essential vitamins, nutrients, and of course, everything that you need from tart cherry or raspberry flavors, and get all the essential stuff that you'll need to stay hydrated throughout the game. So there are no more thirsty summers and no more thirsty baseball games, and you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. Now, let me tell you guys about some of our very good friends over at Game Time. And guys, we've talked about Game Time plenty of times with you. I want to share with you their deals because they love deals. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And of course, Game Time's 50% off Labor Day offer for the Diamondbacks Dodgers game. You can go to that if you're in LA or in Arizona. And of course, you can talk super deals and how good it is. And as well, I get the super deals when I go to Game Time. And of course, there is toggling this features that show up front with all pricing must include. You have to turn on the feature. And of course, there are seat views. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. And the lowest price is always guaranteed, or Game Time credit will give you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase when you download Game Time app and use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Now we get into it with MacKenzie Gore going up against Carlos Rodon in tonight's game. What will the Nationals do? Will they be able to kind of hold this thing together? Because it is one of those games where you're like, oh boy, the Nats sit at 60-73, while the Yankees are 78-55, and they are first in the AL East. But you have Carlos Rodon going up against MacKenzie Gore, who we all know this about Gore. If Gore cannot command his fastball, things are going to go haywire. It will get way out of control really quick for MacKenzie Gore if he cannot control that fastball. Now, again, I'm not some wizard out here or anything like that. I know that. But one thing that I am concerned about with MacKenzie Gore, Aaron Judge hasn't really nipped us in the butt yet. He has 51 home runs on the season, and he hasn't hit one through his first two games, and that was against Patrick Corbin last night and Mitchell Parker 2 nights ago. And now it's his third straight night of seeing a left-handed pitcher. He is going to get a hold of one eventually. And of course, this lies on a MacKenzie Gore day. I'm not here to tell you that bet against MacKenzie Gore, we're not going to win this game, because good news for the Nats, you're going up against Carlos Rodon, who hasn't been all that much better here recently. He has struggled a lot, and also MacKenzie Gore has struggled. So I don't know what to make of this game. I don't know what to do with my hands at this point in time, because both teams haven't really faced the opposing starting pitcher all that much, as the Nationals have a ton of young guys in this team, as You've got a 24-year-old Chaparro, 23-year-old Jose Tena, got Luis Garcia. See, all the young guys who are playing right now haven't seen the veteran left-handed pitcher with Rodon. And a lot of the guys on the Yankees team, outside of Juan Soto, they haven't seen much of MacKenzie Gore either. So I don't know what to make at this point in time, but one thing is for sure, I'm not betting on or against the Nationals heading into this game. So we'll see what the Nats do. But ultimately, MacKenzie Gore, tonight could be your night to really kind of get your season back in form and finish September strong. So we'll see what happens. But of course, until then, you get to watch some baseball tonight against the New York Yankees. So we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.